program. We haven't had a significant number of bankruptcies in River Oaks that I've seen, but we have had a lot of business personal property accounts that have come up, and so we have a lot of site visits where we go out and we talk to the owner of the store and try to get to them. Those are turned over in April, so we try to get to them real quick, and if you get to somebody before their account becomes really delinquent, it's a lot easier to collect it, because once it becomes 2-3 years, you imagine a restaurant, if they're 5 years delinquent, all they have in their restaurant that are assets are tables, chairs, and used kitchen equipment and plates. It has no value on the secondary market. So just really getting on those accounts a lot quicker and making sure that they're not sitting out there for a number of years unpaid. I'm looking at the vacant chair. Steve. Yes.
He's up there.
There we go. I see you.
You're Elam trained, aren't you?
Look at the chair. I'm at Elam.
Do you have any further questions for Corey on the delinquent tax report?
Sounds good.
All right. Marvin, do we need to formally approve this?
Yeah, we need to vote to approve it.
I move that, is it just we're just approving the contract with Linebaugh?
You're approving their report, their rollover report.
Okay.
Delinquent and rollover report.
Was that so moved?
I said I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the delinquent tax collections in 2021 turnover report as presented by Corey Fickus from Linebarger Attorneys at Law. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.
Thank
you.
Thank you for getting with them on that utility.
Absolutely. I'll come back to update you once we start on the collection side again.
Okay.
Thank you. Now we'll move to item number 9, which is discussion and/or action regarding presentation by the Fort Worth Transit Authority regarding bus and mid service in River Oaks. Marvin?
Chad, is that Chad?
Yes, sir.
They have a presentation that we'd like to, start off with, that Charlotte's got, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you very much. Get that pulled up. My name is Chad Edwards. I'm Vice President, Planning and Development at Trinity Metro. I have Deetra Whitmore, who's our Vice President of Customer Experience. Sorry, Deetra. And then Steve Montgomery, who is our Government Relations individual at Trinity Metro as well. So thank you very much for having us today and talking about Trinity Metro and what we do here in the city. And we had a conversation with Marvin and the mayor a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Friday, 2 weeks ago.
Yes, 2 weeks ago. And there was some question about what we were doing and why we were doing it. And we quickly realized that we hadn't come and talked to you guys like we should have. So we apologize for that, and that's why we're here today, to give you a little bit better information than what we may have shared with you previously. So hopefully this can be a little bit more regular thing for you guys to hear more about what's going on in River Oaks with Trinity Metro. So as far as the agenda, it looks long. It's really not that long, so don't be scared about how long our presentation is today. But a little bit of background, and I won't spend a whole lot of time on that. It's just more of a kind of understanding what our system is. We'll review the ridership in River Oaks, the Route 91 changes that go through the city here, and then Deetra will talk about the services, the new services that we've had since you guys have signed up with Trinity Metro, and then what our next steps are to hopefully improve our relationship between the agency and the city. So the background itself, our agency was established in 1983, and we have 11 board members. 3 of those are appointed from Tarrant County, and the rest of those from the city of Fort Worth. You can see the state enabling legislation there for the city, and we're funded typically through a housing sales tax. We have about 8 cities that participate in our service area. You can see Fort Worth and Blue Mound as member cities, and then we have Texrail partners because of the rail line, and then we have other partners as shown there between Crowley, Everman, Forest Hill, and then River Oaks here. As far as our services overview, we cover rail, we have bus, we have CNG CNG fleet. We also have 4 electric buses That's called the Dash. We also are getting what we call our right-size fleet for routes there. We're getting what we're calling mini movers, which are more of a 15 to 18 person vans. So that
River Oak size.
I'm sorry?
Just to be clear, River Oak size?
To be River Oak size.
You need to hear that message.
I think I understand what you're talking about. And so, those are really for routes that may not have a whole lot of, riders on it, and so we're trying to just really right-size that service. Access, which we'll talk about here in a moment, Zip Zone, which is our on-demand service, van pool, and then just recently, in the last year, I think we've, incorporated full bike sharing, as well within the service, within Trinity Metro as well. And then, just on the other side there, just to kind of give you a scale of what we're providing as far as assets between the buses, the park and rides, the bus stops, and the bicycles there as well. As far as ridership, on Access, which is our paratransit service, you can see there, this is a graph on the top that shows the ridership over the last fiscal years, 2020 and 2021. So the blue line there is FY20, and the red line is FY 2021. And you can see that between the February, March, April, and May time frame is really when COVID struck and had a downturn in the ridership numbers, and then it started to come back a little bit, and then the red line as it continues off the page and then back on. We're actually increasing here in August, a comparison between 48 to this year 67 riders in Access. So that's a pretty good increase.
But that's on the paratransit.
Yes, sir, that's on the paratransit. I'll get to the fixed route in just a moment. And then on the bottom graph really shows the cost for that service for each of those years compared to each other as well. And so our per trip contract amount is $31.76. And then in FY20, the city had purchased $17,976 worth of Access service. And then as of year to date, for FY21, the city has purchased $11,179 worth of service. On Route 91, you can see here we've identified the bus stops along River Oaks Boulevard, and then the graph is over the year, each of those particular stops and how many riders per stop. And if you look at this graph here, the Roberts Cutoff, Merritt, and Yale are really the outliers here as far as the most performing, best performing locations, which makes a lot of sense because of the locations of each and the activity that's in each of those intersections there. So the yellow line is Roberts Cutoff, the light blue line, which is the next line if you're going down in the graph there, is Merritt, and then the orange line there is the Yale stops. As far as the Route 91 route itself, so when we take the stops that are within River Oaks and then compare them, or add them, I should say, to the rest of the route, you can see what the ridership is over the last 2 years, and between FY20 and 21. And again, you can see the dip in the March-April timeframe of 2020, went from the 3,800 down to 2,700 and then kind of leveled off. You'll notice that I think it's the 2023 on the red line in February, that was actually the weak cold spell that we had, where it's very difficult to move vehicles around when it's icy and people don't want to get out and lots of things close down, and so that was really where that drop is. So just kind of an anomaly there, and our system is somewhat dependent on the weather. You know, you'll notice ridership changes if it rains, and you'll notice ridership changes if it has an icy cold days as well. And so you can see that ridership there. We are increasing ridership overall system-wide. You can kind of see that reflected here in the Route 91. We're at 3,400 riders compared to last year at this time, actually for August at 2,915 riders. ABC Basics. This is a better connection. This is our bus route reorganization. Hopefully you have heard about it. We're trying to get out the message as best we can. What we're trying to do here with ABC is really improve